Okay, so let me just briefly explain about this session. I think my second video lecture on RBAC already explained the session, right? But let me just explain about the session one more time, and this time it's going to be more intuitive explanation. Okay, so I'm not going to get into the theoretical aspect of session, but in this lecture, I give you more intuitive explanation, okay, about the sessions. Okay, so let me just draw a couple of, let's just draw the diagram, right? So the sessions, right, you can think as a pipe, right? So, let's say we have a sessions, right? Okay, hold on, this is... Okay, so let's say this is a session 1, right? The session connects what? Between the user and the role. So each session can activate multiple roles. Let's say we have a role number 1, role number 2, role number 3, and role number 4, and role number 5, etc., right? And then of course we can have a multiple session, right? The user can activate multiple sessions, okay? Okay, there's another sessions and there could be another sessions, right? Okay, so let's say this is session number 2 and session number 3, right? So for example, right? So here is a user 1, okay? I'll just say U1, okay, the user 1, right? The user 1 can activate the sessions, right? And the session, let's say, can what? Also can activate one role. Let's say this is R1, okay? Okay, now let's say let's say user 3, right? Let's say this is a user 3 activates this role number, the session number 3, and the session number 3 can, let's say, can activate this both roles, okay? Right? Now, of course, the user 1, right, can also activate another, sessions, and this session can activate, let's say, R1, right, and R2, and then R3 at the same time, right? So, as you can see, right, my point is this. My point is that each session, right? So here is the conclusion. From this, conclusion is this. Each session can have only one user. Okay, as you can see, if you look at the user from the perspective, from the sessions, right? As you can see, the sessions can have only one user at the same time, right? However, let's see, a user, right? The user can have, as you can see, multiple sessions, right? As shown in this example, like this one, right? It's this, like, if you look at the user 1, right? It can activate, right? S1, right? If he wants to have R1, right? And also the same user can have activate session 2, right? Later on when he log out and he will log in and log into, then let's say this user select session number 2, right? Because what? Because this user wants to, let's just use the green, okay? So because by activating S2, right, user 1 can have what? How many roles? 3 roles, right? R1, R2, and R3, right? So it depends on the purpose, right? User 1 can activate S1 to be R1, the role 1, to have R1, or user 1 can have what? Activate S2 to have, user 1 can activate S2 to become role 1, 2, and 3 at the same time. Okay? So this is the, I want you to show that each session, as you can see, can have only one user. Okay? So if I just draw the different diagram between the session and user, right? So let's say here's a session, right? And then there's a user. So in this case, let's say this is a session 1, session 2, and then session 3, for example. And then could be multiple sessions, right? S4, S5. And let's say we have user 1, and a user 2, and user 3, right? And then just keep going. So if I just present this scenario, right? You know the session 1, what? Session 1, what? Has a user 1. So session 1 has user 1, right? And look at the S2. S2 has what? User 1, right? And then S3 has user 3. Okay, so as you can see, each session can have only user, but the user, right? User can have multiple sessions. In this case, user 1 have what? S1, S2, multiple sessions. But each session, if you look at each session can only have one user, Okay, so at any given time. Okay, so I know that this is very short, lectures on a session. But more detailed explanation is on my previous RBAC lecture. The second RBAC lecture, it has much more details, right? And it shows all the theoretical background. I explain all the theories behind the sessions. Okay, so please take a look at my second video on RBAC if you want to dig in more. But this is, I think this is by the way, this is just intuitive explanation of sessions. Okay, so thank you.